Now that we have spent some time looking at the nature of the exchange market, what an exchange market fundamentally is, as well as looking at the historical development, essentially just providing something of a foundation to this particular area of study, let's in this lesson start to talk about the intricate details of financial exchange markets, focusing first on the different types of exchange market you might be able to find and interact with. This is obviously important to understand that not all exchange markets are the same. Not all exchange markets operate in the same way either. So that's why this is an important area for you to study. So, in terms of lesson structure, generally speaking, we can divide an exchange market into three main types. You have what are known as spot markets. A spot exchange market is the type of exchange market that you're going to be most familiar with, and probably as a layperson going to be interacting with the most. I say that not disparagingly. I'm also a layperson in terms of the financial system. The second is the idea known as a forward market. And then finally, you have futures markets, where we start thinking about futures contracts and derivatives and that kind of stuff, which we'll get to in a second. And if you feel like we haven't covered the nature of derivatives and derivative markets enough in this lesson, don't despair. I have a whole series of videos that are coming up on derivative marketing and derivative markets in this series in a future chapter. So we're going to go into that in an excruciatingly a high level of detail, let's just say, in my opinion. So some of these involve concepts, like I said, that we're going to be examining in more detail. But for now, let's just think about the spot market. What is a spot exchange market? Well, this is where we see the immediate exchange of currencies. As you might have already realized by thinking about the actual word itself and the phrase, the reason why it's called a spot market is because the exchanges are made on the spot. They are made immediately. So that's why we call it a spot market. They also take a variety of different forms and sizes. So there are the smaller spot markets. So for example, if a tourist went to a place where they were able to make an exchange of currency, they are dealing on the spot market. So in the UK, for example, you go to Tesco's. In the UK, you can also go to just your local branch of the post office, and you'll often be able to make exchanges of currencies, often quite niche currencies, in fact, there. And this is seen as a smaller kind of spot market. You're often only engaging in making trades on quite small amounts of currencies, maybe a few £100, maybe up to about £1,000 potentially, and that's about it really. In fact, as a sort of anecdotal piece of evidence, in the UK, the spot markets often allow you to exchange quite, like I said, niche currencies. I went to Poland once and I had to exchange pounds for the Polish currency, which is actually called zloty, and I was obviously in a panic trying to find where I'm going to actually get that kind of currency from. But obviously, spot markets are particularly helpful. In addition to this, very large firms who transition currencies among different financial institutions will also engage in a spot market. Now, this is a different kind of spot market because, of course, this takes a much larger size than that of the smaller spot markets that we've spoken about here. And so, for the most part, when we think about spot trading, it makes up a very large amount of the exchange market. It also makes up a very large amount of the value in the exchange market. So the majority of trades, like individual trades, regardless of value, will often take place on a spot market and probably will often take place on quite small spot markets, the kind of things that a tourist would go and look at, where somebody who is a sort of layperson interacting within this particular currency exchange. And when it comes to the value that is traded, this is also mostly done on spot markets as well. So the bigger transitions, the firms in transition currency that are into transition currencies and do so through financial institutions are also engaging in the spot market, and they're engaging in the spot market on a much larger scale, of course. And so this therefore means that when we think about types of exchange markets, the first thing that should really come to your mind is this idea of the spot market, because forward markets and futures markets are far, far, far smaller. And this makes sense anyway, given that forwards and futures and derivative investing is a much niche type of financial instrument and financial market that most people don't engage with on any large scale, as you would probably imagine. But let's just bear that in mind when we think about the forward market. So the forward market makes use of what are known as forward contracts. A forward contract is a type of derivative contract. And don't get too caught up in all the key words and all the key terms. Just think of it as very simply a contract that exists between two parties. This is what a forward contract is, in which there is an agreement to buy or sell, or both, some kind of assets in the future at a specified price. So the aim here is essentially to take an exchange, to take the buying and or selling of some asset on a financial asset, of course, in the financial market, to essentially do that, but to then remove it into the future, to do it at a future date. And the reason why it requires a contract, of course, is because you have to have some kind of commitment that is going to happen, okay? And so a forward exchange market will involve a process where there will be an agreement, that is a contractual agreement often, which is made between a buyer and a seller for the exchange of currencies, and they do so at a at a price which is agreed upon within the forward contract. Now, one of the incentives to using forward contracts and to do sort of derivative investing of this kind of nature is if you agree that you are going to buy or sell some financial product in the future, and you also agree that it's going to be at a particular price, then that is something that is sort of set in stone, if you will, in the contract. And the value of the currency or the value of the debt or equity securities that you may be engaging with, if we're talking about other financial instruments, may still fluctuate. So you still may make more profit than you otherwise would, or make less than you otherwise would, depending on the fluctuations in the market more generally. So that's one of the incentives for using forwards contracts and using derivative investing. A currency, specifically thinking about exchanges, a currency forward contract, it's sometimes known as an outright forward. This is where you have an agreement for the exchange of some currency, where the exchange rate is also agreed upon ahead of time, as well as the delivery date for that particular exchange. So the final thing I want to talk about in this lesson is the futures market. And a futures market is very, very similar to that of a forwards market. It's a futures exchange market specifically. It's a mechanism that allows for the locking in of the exchange rate at a point in the future, okay? So you have to remember these are separate to ordinary spot exchange markets where the exchange rate fluctuates. The exchange rate isn't determined by an individual person. It is determined by a whole host of different factors and different indicators in the market, and the value of a currency going up or down. Lots of world events have very significant changes when we think about the value of currency. A few weeks ago, at the time of recording this lesson in November 2024, the Labour government in the United Kingdom introduced its first budget. That caused the currency to drop a little bit. When the Brexit referendum happened, that caused the pound to drop quite significantly. When President Trump or President-elect Trump was elected a few weeks ago in 2024, that caused the changes in the exchange markets as well, and the value of the currency. These are all events that aren't even necessarily implemented at the time at which they are happening. So, for example, the 2016 Brexit referendum did nothing to the relationship between the European Union and the United Kingdom. It wasn't until 2020, when we formally left, that there was actually a change. But it nevertheless causes a change in terms of the value of the currency, in terms of the value of the pound. Similarly with the financial budget and the election of President Trump. So all of these things, of course, have an impact on exchange rates. But the purpose of a futures market, as I've just mentioned, is one that allows the locking in of the exchange rate at a point in the future. This is done through the buying or selling of a futures contract. Because when you think about locking something in like that, and locking something in a way that is extended in time, of course, you are having to do so through a contractual agreement. You have to agree with a person that I want to buy or sell at this exchange at this point in time. Now, technically, all exchanges are sort of forms of contracts, an agreement to buy or to sell, and you obviously have intermediary brokerage firms that interact and help in that process, but so too is a futures contract. The reason why a futures contract is sort of more highly specified as a contract is that it has to be an agreement that is often done quite significantly into the future. Sometimes it could be into a year into the future, for example. So again, as I've mentioned, it is very similar to the previously aforementioned forwards markets. The main difference is that unlike a forward market, a futures trade is regulated and it takes place on a specific exchange. So this is regulated in the US, for example, by the US Commodity Futures Trading Commission, the CFTC. And so that's one of the major differences, that is sort of done in an institutionalized fashion compared to that of a forwards market, which often isn't.